Hello, everyone. Just give me a second to get connected to our different softwares and we'll be ready to go. And I think we're almost there. Okay. Well, I know people might be out doing trick or treat events tonight because a lot of people do them on the weekend closest to Halloween. I know that our church is having or had their trunk or treat a little bit earlier. But obviously, you can always watch this in the replay. And so we're very happy that you guys have joined us. We're just going to spend a few minutes tonight talking about Flashpricer, which is the repricer that I use for Walmart. It is a repricer for Walmart and Amazon. So you can use it for both of those platforms. But we're going to really talk about the Walmart applications this evening. As we go into Q4, here we are 26 days in, we're getting to some of the most competitive time of year to sell. And it's also the best time of year to sell, but you really need to have your pricing strategies set up so that you can be effective in terms of winning the buy box as much as possible and selling through the stuff that you have. So I'm just going to go directly into a short demo. You guys can ask any questions that you have. I will try to pause and answer questions. We're going to do a more extensive demonstration a week from Thursday. I believe that's November 6th. So if you want to dive even deeper into it, as you kind of get familiar with it, hopefully if you don't already use Flashpricer, you can sign up tonight. We're going to have an awesome discount code for you tonight. And then as you kind of like play around with it, you might even have more questions when we come back and do a second live on Flashpricer. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I've got to move a couple of things here real quick. And we will share. Right screen. Okay, so hopefully now you see that screen. So Flashpricer, like I said, it's a repricer for Amazon and Walmart. You can do a free trial, so you can just like try it out and see, how your sales are impacted. I would suggest you start it out and really just dive in and like get your items set up so that you can actually see the power of Flashpricer. I know for myself, I saw a huge increase in sales when I switched over to Flashpricer. I've used the Walmart repricer. I've used a couple of other repricers prior to learning about Flashpricer. And in most cases, those all kind of do what we call the race to the bottom. They basically tank your price to your lowest. You'll sell, but you'll sell at your lowest price. And what I love about Flashpricer is and you'll see this, I'll show you kind of an actual item and how they've repriced it, is they are modulating their price according to the market so that you get not only the buy box more often, but the buy box for a higher price. So let's just take a look at what Flashpricer looks like. So this is your dashboard. We're not going to really go into setting up strategies tonight, but there are, I'll just show you briefly, where you can set up multiple strategies depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And then you can apply those strategies to your different items. We have some things we price manually. We have some that we price based upon ROI. We have some liquidation strategies when we're trying to clear inventory that's not moving. So, lots of strategies that you can apply. I think since we're going to have this kind of shorter session, I'd rather kind of spend time where I spend most of my time, which is in figuring out what needs to be repriced, how I reprice it, those type of things. So one of the things that I love that Flashpricer has added is this dashboard, kind of a sales dashboard. If you're familiar with like Seller Board or something like that, it's a similar dashboard in terms of being able to see your daily sales and then be able to see here what portion of those sales are profit, as long as you have your cost of goods into the system. So you can see your revenue versus your profit, how many units you sold, all of that good stuff in graphical form. Then you have that information over here as well. So obviously selling through a ton of units. We love that. I do see here that I've got quite a few items that are missing cost. So I've actually been on the road for almost a month. So I'm the one that does our Walmart repricing. And so I just haven't gone in and adjusted those new SKUs. So I want to show you kind of what I would do going in tomorrow morning when I'm going to attack and try to get these SKUs set up so I can get them repriced. Flashpricer has amazing filtering options. So being able to filter your items in a way to be able to truly see different ways in which you want to attack pricing. But for right now, we're just going to go in and look at items that are in stock that are not, I'm going to say, like, they probably don't have a buy cost. So they're missing the cost. That's usually the items that are not being priced for me. So you can see over here the items I have in stock. You can see that there's no cost here, so, and there's no strategy assigned. So I could manually come in here and put in a buy cost on this, $12.99. If I'm merchant fulfilling it, I want to set up kind of how much it's going to cost me to ship that. So let's say $8. And then I choose one of my strategies. And so I have one that is for items that are under $15. And now Flashpricer will just automatically calculate my mins and maxes based upon the strategy that I set up. And so now this item is going to be actively repriced so that I can, get more aggressive with the competition. We can see over here, so my price currently is at $39. But over here, if I show the competition, I can see what my competition is, like what their prices are. And I can also see the quantity that they have. And I can toggle between who's WFS and who's, FBM, depending on how I am fulfilling mine. So those are all kind of just, it's really great data to have so that you can say like, oh, do I need to choose a more aggressive pricing strategy, or am I going to try to choose a strategy that maybe lets me maximize the buy box because maybe other people aren't as low as what they normally would be on an item. That can happen when you have very fast moving hot items this time of year. So you can do this manually. The way, though, that I prefer to do it, because I have 341 items here that met this filter. So those items need to have buy cost added and they need to have a strategy selected. So I can go over here to these three dots and I can export this to CSV and then download that Excel file basically. And in the Excel file, I can add my costs and my strategy, and I can upload it. I can just do it all at once. So if you have a lot of items, especially when you're first getting started, that's the way I would recommend doing it, just because you can go through things a lot faster. You can copy and paste your strategy. So there are just things like that that are a lot faster to be done through a file format than having to manipulate through the system. But the system is very, very easy to use. So if I go down here and like this one, my buy cost is $2, cost me $6 to ship. Again, it's under 15, so it automatically is going to do that pricing for me. So that's what I'm going to do in the morning to make sure to get all of my items repricing again, because all of the stuff has gotten added as I've been gone. But then there's other reasons that other things you might want to filter for and use Flashpricer in different ways. So one thing you might want to do is look at items that have no strategy set up. So let me just go no strategy assigned, and I'm going to search just by a keyword. So Sally. So you can see I've got this Christmas ornament, then I've got these shoes, and then I've got some Sally Hansen nail polish. And so if there's a certain item that you're wanting to do, you can see how quick that filter is. It's much faster than trying to filter and find items in the Walmart system. And so a lot of times I even come over here and use the filter to just kind of look at my stock and items like that, because it's just faster, doesn't kind of give me the like, oh, oops, we encountered an error page or something like that. So it's a lot more smoother, easier to use, just to filter your items in general. So again, like we could go through here and we could assign the strategies and look at that information. Another thing I wanted to show you tonight is just looking at profitability of an item. So I'm going to actually type in a SKU. My dog would quit hitting my hands so I could type. He's wanting attention. Okay, so here we've got this item. It's a mascara. And we can click this button for advanced insights to this item. So this tells me on this item, and I'm going to make this bigger. Hang on. Here we go. So we can see this item. I just got my beauty re-ungated. So we don't have a lot of data on this in the last 7 days as far as repricing. But we can see down here that we have some units sold on this. And then they have this heat map that talks about kind of when items are sold. So you can see I had this big gap that happened when I was regated over in beauty. But I like looking at this. I like looking at sales. I can look at the orders page. I can see the orders. So I had one order here, then I had 25, then I had 3, then I had 1. And I can see what my estimated profit is on all of this. So it just, to me, like, it's just really cool, because if I'm trying to say, like, is that an item I want to replenish, if I can get it for the same price, it's very easy for me to find that information in Flashpricer, and it's not that easy to find over in Walmart. So I like to use Flashpricer for that as well. So let me close that. And then I'm going to show you repricing history on an item. Oop, again, can't type. Okay, we're going to look at this item. And I just picked this item because I had a nice little graph where I could talk about the repricing that was happening with this item. So you can see back here that we started, my price was $10.29. The competitive price was $9.99. Here was my minimum. Here's my maximum. And we had the price went down, trying to win the buy box, went back up, and then down and up and down. And then look, my my competition price, they left the building. They were gone. So you can see Flashpricer moved up even higher to get that buy box at a higher price point. And so again, down, back up again, down, back up again. And you can see here the order that was placed. It was placed at this high point. So more dollars for me in my pocket, which is always great. So this is a pretty simple kind of graph. Some of them get a little more elaborate. You can click on pricing events and you can actually see that this is being repriced. We look over here. This is on the 22nd. There were 3 different repricings done. On the 20th, there were several done there. On the 19th, several done. So it's repricing constantly. And Flashpricer doesn't just use the API data. They're actually scraping the actual Walmart website to ensure that they have the most accurate buy box information for you. which is always a good thing as well. All right. Don't know if anybody, I haven't seen any questions come across yet, but if you do, just drop them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. So why do we want to reprice? I mean, the competition in some cases can be really high on some of these items. We can have many sellers that we're trying to compete with. And if our prices stay stagnant, you may not be selling through your stock. And money that just sits is not making us money. We want to sell those products, get our profit back as well as our buy cost back, so that we can reinvest that money in something else. And so having a strong repricer, particularly this time of year, is really just essential. Just really needs to happen. So I wanted to come back to this page and show you a few more of the filters that are available if you really wanted to kind of dive in and look at items that might be problematic. You can come down here and you can say, show me products that have had no sales in the last 30 days. And I'm going to add that also are in stock, because obviously you don't have sales on out of stock inventory. So that's going to show you all of these items. And I have quite a few because, like I said, I just got my beauty back. All of these items that have not had sales in the last 30 days. So maybe that is a pricing issue, and maybe you need to change your strategy to a more aggressive strategy. So that it's just a quick way to filter to know like what's happening with your products. And we want to make sure we do that. Okay. All right. So that's one thing that I come in here and I look at. Let's go in here. You can also just this like less than 15 days of stock. If you do a lot of replenishables, that would be a way for you to be able to look and see what items you may need to restock. My business really isn't based that way, so that's not one I use very often, but I do like that it's there. And then let's scroll down. Oh, this commission adjustment program. So a lot of times Walmart provides incentives on products. And so used to, it was really hard for us to know when it sold whether or not an incentive was there. Now they've done a lot better job on the Walmart platform of actually showing the Walmart incentive. But this also shows you from repricing standpoint that there is some type of incentive applied. And so that's always nice and handy just as you're repricing. So you know that this is probably an item that customers want, because Walmart usually only does that on items that are getting a lot of hits on the website. And so that also just kind of is a leading indicator for you guys in terms of items that would be good. We can also look at items that are in error. So we can look at the items and the errors that they're having. And we can also look at items that are not competitive. So your price is greater than your external competitor's price. And we know we have a lot of issues with price competitiveness on the platform. And this is an easy way for you to see that so that you can make adjustments along the way. So just a lot of great details and reports that you can use. And so speaking of reports, how would you like to have somebody run reports on your repricing and your sales data automatically for you? Well, Flashpricer can do that too. So in the reports section, you can actually set up scheduled reports that are emailed directly to you or whoever you need them emailed to. And so you can set that up. And like here, I have one set up that I did a little bit earlier tonight, where the Walmart listings that have no sales, I want that weekly so that I can look at that and analyze it and see if there's something we need to do differently with those products. So we just schedule a new report. They have a lot of pre-configured reports, so you can customize your own reports. So here we can see like, oh, which ones are giving me the sales at my max price? Because maybe during Q4, that's an indicator that maybe I want to raise my price, or maybe I want to go get more inventory, or anything like that is going to help you. Which ones are only selling at the minimum price? So that's another indicator that maybe either sales are slow or sluggish. Maybe you need to be more aggressive with your pricing, that type of thing. Also, suppressed buy box. Maybe that's also something that you can go and look at. Why is it suppressed? Is it suppressed for price? Is it suppressed because there are like photos that need to be added to that listing or something like that? So you can set these reports up to just basically drop into your inbox at whatever cadence you want them to, so that you can just be more informed about what's happening with your products and your prices. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to check for any questions. Yeah, Emily. Yeah, Flashpricer is really great. Super great. All right. All right. So let me just show you. I think I did a download. Yep. Let me just show you what that looks like. So this is the template. I'm going to open up in Excel because I'm an Excel nerd. So just give me a second here to grab Excel. So if you wanted to do a bulk pricing import, you basically just put your SKUs here, and then you have your sales channel and that type of thing. I think we want to, this is not the report that I thought, so give me just a second. I think it's somewhere in one of my other, in my inbox. So I just have to find where my inbox went. And everything when I like share things and everything, things tend to hide in the wrong places. So just bear with me here. Okay. Because I do want to show you that. All right, now we got it. Let me open it up. So when I was on that page and I filtered by the things that didn't have prices, that needed to have a strategy assigned, that type of thing, this is what actually downloaded. So you can see it's already filled in for me. I just need to look at these places that don't have a cost or don't have a strategy, and I need to fill those in. And that's, if you know Excel, it's pretty easy to do because you can do some just quick sorting. So I can sort the by cost. I'm looking for it. Sorry, I wear trifocals, so sometimes it's a little hard seeing what I'm trying to see. I know the bike cost. Oh, right there, cost. So if I do cost from smallest to largest, here's cost. If I scroll all the way down past all of these that have a cost, then everything that without a cost is going to be at the bottom here. So that just pulls it all together, makes it easy for me to be able to do. And then I can go in and I can copy my strategies if I want to. So like anything that's over $15, I could just copy these two into those cells, and I don't even have to like mess with that. But once I get it done, I just save it, and then I go upload that, and it's going to upload all of those by costs very quickly for me, so I can get back on track with my repricing. Okay. So I got a thing here, but I'm gonna we have a correction because Jordan from Flashpricer is making you an even better deal. So if you don't yet have Flashpricer, I'm gonna throw up a QR code that you can just scan that will get you to the page where you can start your free trial. But if you sign up tonight for the first 3 months, he's going to give you 50% off. And so you're going to want to use the code FASTER, FASTER 50, FASTER 50. And that's going to give you 50% off for the first 3 months. They do have multiple pricing options. They have a kind of like beginner tier that's $50 if you don't have very many SKUs at all. And then beyond that, then they just kind of go up based upon the SKUs and if you're going to connect your Walmart store, Amazon store, like your stores, it will have that. But I'll leave that QR code up for you guys. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, it was a day of Thanksgiving and praise when I got Beauty back. It was surprising. Like I'd been defeated multiple times. So I would say for those of you still working on it, you just have to be persistent. But literally has changed our sales so dramatically overnight that, I mean, it's just, we had a ton of money tied up there. So been very good. Yeah. So FASTER 50 is the code. You'll get 50% off, 14-day free trial. So, you know, there's no, if you, like I said, just try it, watch what it does to your sales. And I'd love to hear feedback on that. I know for me personally, it was at least a 20% bump in sales when I implemented Flashpricer, and I can't imagine going off of it. Like I see the pricing that it does and how we're selling things at increasing prices throughout the same day. And so that's just super important to me because we want to maximize the amount that we're getting, but we also want to capture sales. And nobody's got time to sit in front of a computer and be repricing manually this time of year. We all need to be outsourcing, you know, making sure everything's repricing and just sourcing more because right now is when everything's gonna be selling like lightning. So I wanted to just kind of come on and give you guys this kind of brief introduction. I'm going to do a more in-depth, I'm going to talk about strategies, how I set up my strategies. We'll do that a week from Thursday, November 6th. We'll get a little bit more into using the files. Maybe I'll have some files ready. You can see how they import and upload. We'll talk a little bit more about reports. And then anything else that you guys come in with questions for. But yeah, just wanted to kind of, it's actually a little late. I should have done it a couple of weeks ago for you guys, just because how important the repricing is. It's a big part of your e-commerce business. I would highly suggest that you attack it sooner rather than later. Your pocketbook will thank you. If there aren't any other questions, let me look real quick on one of the others platforms. I think we're good. We're going to leave it there for tonight, but join me a week from Thursday. We'll do a more in-depth session with this. Bring your questions, set up the free trial between now and then. And that way you can bring your questions and we'll get your questions answered. I'm sure Jordan from Flashpricer will join us then. He's with us tonight. And he's available. If I don't know the answer, we can get the answer from him. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a safe and happy Halloween, happy sales, happy Q4. And I will see you a week from Thursday to talk more. Thanks a lot.